So in this half an hour to 45 minutes, we're going to talk about moving to France in 6 to 18 months. Salut Noah, let me know if you can hear me. We're going to talk about living in France and creating a business, freelancing. And if you have a business, we're also going to be talking about maybe developing this business or questions that you have on your business. Hi, Kenny Robertson, nice to see you here. So before I start taking your questions, you can start typing them away and I will have a look at them in a moment. I just wanted to remind, hi Gillian, nice to see that you're making it on YouTube. Well done, Gillian. And hi, Bernie. So a few events I wanted to share with you. For March, I started doing more lives and some events. So a few things I wanted to mention. First of all, for those who don't know me, obviously, I'm Valerie Aston. I'm the founder of Start Business in France, and I help expatriates prepare, create, and manage their freelancing in France. Hi, Tamara, nice to see you. So again, today you're going to see me looking forward for YouTube and sideways to Instagram. So sorry for people on Instagram. I'm looking at sideways. I'm still not managing to integrate Instagram to Restream. So we're going to do a bit of both. So a few events that I wanted to share with you. The first one, in March, I'm going to hold 2 free webinars on the 20th and 25th of March at 7 p.m. French time, 1 p.m. New York, 10 a.m. LA, 6 p.m. UK. So I'm going to have an hour webinar where I'm going to be talking about the different business structures in France. So that's the business structures for beginners. If you think about creating a business, you're not quite sure which one to go for, I'm going to talk about micro-entrepreneur, sole trader, SaaS, and so on. And I'm also going to be talking about taxes. So if you want to know a bit more before you make your choice, that's the one to come to. I will add the link for now. I just mentioned the date on the screen, so 20th of March, 25th of March at 7 p.m. And once we finish the event, I will add the links on the YouTube comments, and we'll also add some posts on LinkedIn later on. So, Enora says she can hear me. Thank you, Enora. She's speaking in English well. Very good. It's my daughter. That's my technician support. So the second event I wanted to share with you. So that's the first one. I think that'd be good because I'm going into more details, and I know that some of you already have a micro-entrepreneur. They're developing their business. They want to go into something bigger. People like programmers, consultants, or some people for whom the activities has a lot of cost. Wedding planners, event organizers, retreats. So that's when it gets interesting to talk about taxes. The second event I wanted to talk to you about, let me change the screen. So this one is Moving to France webinar. So this one I'm being invited by Benjamin Small from Ibanista for bank transfers. And he's inviting me and Daniel Tostado, who's a French immigration lawyer. So that's a great thing to have him with us. And we're going to be talking about moving to France, boost your visa approval odds and income prospects. So we're going to talk everything about how to prepare your best visa application. And you're in luck to have someone like Daniel Tostado, who's an immigration lawyer. We're going to talk about your different sources of income that you can have, what you need to put in your business plan to make it look better. And have more chances of success. So that should be really good. So it's on the 4th of April at 7 p.m. and it's a one-off event organized by Ibanista. So I'm looking forward to this. And the last event I wanted to share with you, this one is the first live interviews that we'll be doing on YouTube. So it's the 28th of March at 6 p.m. And I will be inviting Patricia Brooks from the Carefree Expats. And Patricia is a coach. She's helping women to move abroad and make it a success. And she's also an author. She's written a couple of books. She's working on a second book. So I'm going to be interviewing Patricia on several things. First of all, I want to have her tips, like the best tip that she will have to help make your move abroad a success, because she's got great experience and she's working with many women on this topic, coaching them. And also, I want to have, for this series of interviews, I'm interviewing people for their expertise, but also for the experience of living in France, having a French business. So Patricia has registered as a coach in France. She's doing online courses and so on. I think for 2 years already. So I also want to have the nitty-gritty about what was it like for her, which kind of business did she go for, what did she find interesting, harder to cope with. So I want to have a feedback on this. And that's the idea about these new live interviews. Once a month, I will be inviting someone to share their expertise. And in April, I will be inviting someone who's working as an estate agent. So that'd be great, both for looking for a house, knowing about the market trends, and his experience as an agent immobilier. So that's going to be really cool. Every month, I'll add one new event. So Tamara says, will you please post the date just said in March 20th and 25th? Yeah, so I'll send you a link. I'll send you a DM after the live, so you have the link. So that's, again, it's like a 2 live events, then I'll just take it away. So that's the 3 things I wanted to talk to you about. So you can see many events are coming up. So as I've mentioned this, I'm going to start taking your questions, so don't hesitate to type them away. And I'm going to just open my iPad because I've listed some questions that I have received this week. And basically for the lives now, I'm going to do the live once a month. So you can attend anytime for the live. I will add a new live event on YouTube so you get notified. So you have to make sure you also subscribe to my channel to be informed on YouTube. And I'll take the questions that I have received a couple of days before. So some of the questions I have received over the last couple of days. So the first one is from Kaz. So Kaz was on YouTube, and Kaz says, so she's watched my macro entrepreneur overview video on YouTube. It's a half an hour introduction to show what is the macro entrepreneur like, how does it work, and so on. And her question is, could you please clarify if it is the good option if I'm doing my blog in social media and have contracts for the ads in my blog? So so basically for Kaz, the micro entrepreneur would be a good fit because she has the blog, she's a bit of a community manager, and she's going to be paid via commissions or ads. So in that case, when she registers her business, micro entrepreneur, I think there's a section or subsection where it says blogueur in French, blogueur, community manager. It could also be like advertising. If you're getting just pure advertising income, in that case, it's seen more like an advertising agency adverts. But what I did say to Kaz, I also said, well, also check which kind of other services you would like to offer, because for now you have this, you have the advertising, you have the blog, but are you thinking about doing something else? So for instance, if you're thinking about doing some online courses or giving some advice in different services, make sure you also add those before, describe them further so we can see how we can include them to make sure that when the business is registered, we've got everything. Because for me, the worst that we can have, quite often people in a rush, they're late, they have that first customer, they want to register quickly, they register quickly, and then we realize a little while afterwards that they haven't included everything. They forgot some services. A month later, they've got a request for something else. And then when we want to add those, then it's very complex, because NPI, the first time around, you're okay. But once you want to update something, it's a bit of a nightmare. So always, before you start registering your activity, think about everything that you want to include. So that was for Kaz. Let me see the question from Tamara. So the event on the 4th of April. So yes, I haven't posted on Instagram. I will post it tomorrow. It's on Ibanista's website, Instagram page, but I will add one tomorrow as well on my Instagram page. I haven't been very active on Instagram. It's not very good. So I will add the events on moving to France, the event organized by Ibanista, and their Instagram, I think, is Ibanista, IBIN. Don't know the end, but I will add it on mine as well tomorrow, so you have the direct link to register. Let me just check if I have some questions. Hi, Graphica Photography, nice to see you. If you have some questions, then please ask them along. I think it's okay for now on Insta. I'm going to take a question. I think I had a question from on YouTube. I had a question from Bernie Rao. So Bernie came to the live last time. And basically, he says, hey, Valerie, can you register artisan using the micro entrepreneur registration service? I mentioned I wanted to sell ice cream from a bike. Before I'm blending ice cream with fruit, that makes me an artisan, is that right? So basically, last time we had the live, Bernie came and he explained his project. I can't remember whether it was in Nice, but basically he wants to sell ice cream on a bike. So he's going to go around town and events and sell ice cream to people. So he just wanted to sell more as a delivery person, but what I did ask him is, are you reselling the ice cream or are you making it? And because he's blending some ice cream with some food, he's actually making a product. So therefore, we have to register Bernie with Chambre des Métiers. So Chambre des Métiers is as soon as you start having some kind of manual services, you have to register with them. So yes, Bernie can register as a micro entrepreneur for the selling the ice cream. And we'll have to be creative about how we're going to be describing it, but something like fabrication et vente de glace à vélo. But the thing that I wanted to mention for Bernie is basically there's a couple of things that you also want to look into before you go ahead with the registration. Is first of all, because you're selling, I'm going to hide this because it takes a lot of the screen, because you are selling, you keep moving places, you actually need to have an authorization from the mairie. You can't just turn up somewhere in a public car park on the main street, park your bike and sell ice cream. It's a bit like when you look at the vans selling burgers and so on, the food truck. You need to have an authorization from the mairie in order to sell. So what I would advise you to do for now is just go and see the mairie where you think about going to sell, the villages where you think about going with your bike, and make sure they will give you an authorization in order to sell on public, la voie publique, on public space. If they say no, try different towns. Also ask for private locations. For instance, private location could be private events, conferences, or a car park where that belongs to, for the supermarket, the car park belongs to the supermarket. So that's one thing to check. And the second thing that we would do basically with your activity would be let me, I've written the word before, to actually add in the description, vente ambulante. So basically, when you move locations, you have a van, a food truck, your services are in a van, it could be a beautician in a van, it could be somebody selling on a bike. So you see the placier at the mairie, so that's what I mentioned before, and you need to request what they call carte de commerçant ambulant. Hi, wrong girl, good to see you. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask away, just type them away and I will take them. So carte de commerçant ambulant is basically when we do the registration, we also mention that you don't have a fixed address, you keep moving places, and we ask for that card from the Chambre de Commerce. And I can't remember what it's issued for 3 to 4 years. So we ask for it, and then you might have to finalize it with the Chambre de Commerce later. So normally you should have your picture on, and sometimes they ask for 10 euros to issue the card. So that was for the question. So that was the question from Bernie. So I will take this away. So let me see the questions that I have. So don't hesitate if you have anything about moving to France or creating a business, just ask them away in the chat and I will take them. So the next question I had was from Abhishek. So Abhishek wants to register an IT business as a freelancer in France and is currently on a passeport talent salarié. Passeport talent salarié en mission. So it's like he's an employee, he got the passport talent, but as an employee, can I do this? So for Abhishek, it's a bit of a tricky one because basically the visa talent salarié allows you to work as an employee for a business. So you've been given that passport, that visa to work for this business, and normally it doesn't work for, you can't use it in order to freelance because that's not what it was issued for. Normally you would need a visa talent for entrepreneur or for something else. So basically what Abhishek needs to look into, he needs to look into switching from his visa talent salarié to entrepreneur. But what he can do is basically normally he can do the switch either 3 months before the renewal date using the same platform they did before, or 2 months before the renewal date with the prefecture of his local residency. So that's what he needs to look into. I would say the alternative, which might be able to do, and needs to look a bit further into this, is in the meantime, because his visa allows him to work as an employee, is to look into the umbrella company called Portage Salarial, umbrella company like Jump or ABC Portage, because basically the umbrella company like this is when you want to take a mission, but you are not freelancing, it's a status which is similar to an employee, so that might work for Abhishek. That would be an option in the meantime. And I'm talking with some people from Jump, one of those platforms, later on this week. So I will also be checking this. So Tamara says, can this be listened to again later on or another day? Yeah, it's being recorded, Tamara. So the live on Insta will be added to the live section, and then it will be on my YouTube channel. So at StartBiz France on YouTube. So YouTube and Instagram. So that was a question from Abhishek. And I got quite a few questions. I think because we're getting closer to the summer, many of you are starting to look into renting your properties. And I have a few questions on this. So one of them was from Sam. So Sam says, we want to rent our apartments, résidence principale, which means it's the main home, the main flat in France, on Airbnb when we go on vacation. I find the process quite confusing. Can you please explain it and tell us what needs doing? So for Sam's situation is specific because basically he wants to rent his own home and it's like a secondary source of income. So we're looking at something called LMNP, which is loueur meublé non professionnel. And basically, whenever you want to rent your property, there's two things that you have to do. You have to check with the mairie that you're allowed to do so, and especially for him because it's his main flat, main home. And in some big towns, there's a pressure on finding rentals. So some of the towns are putting restrictions. So if you're in Lyon, Bordeaux, Lille, Lyon, Bordeaux, Lille, Paris, évidemment, Paris. But basically, if it's your own home, you can't rent it for more than 120 days per year. So that would work for Sam because he's talking about renting his place when he's on holidays. But if it's like your home, no more than 120 days in tough areas, and also because it's non-professional, there's also a maximum of bookings that you can take in terms of turnover. As non-professional, we're looking at maximum 23,000 euros. So basically for Sam, yes, he can, but first of all, check with the mairie. Second of all, he lives in a flat building block, so often there's a syndic. So check with the syndic to make sure there's nothing preventing you from doing this. And finally, once we've done this, we can register the LMNP. I had another question pretty much about the same topic, but for this one, it was someone who isn't living in France. So for someone who doesn't live in France and they want to rent their property, in that case, it's still LMNP, non-professional, loueur meublé non professionnel, and it's the same process. You check with the mairie that you can rent your property, and it's called déclaration meublée touriste. Let me see if I've written that somewhere. Yeah, no, I haven't. So déclaration meublée touriste, and once they say okay, then we register the activity with INPI as non-professional. If that's your main activity, then it's different. We do register it as a business. Salut Julius, I think it's Jules. Let me see if I can see some questions here on Instagram. I think that's okay so far. So don't hesitate if you have any questions about moving to France, creating your business, or developing your business, I will take them. So let me see. So I have a question here from on YouTube. So from Trending Now. Bonjour Valérie. I'm in France looking for a permanent house. Can we start the ME registration process with just the PO box in place? I will eventually get a permanent address. Miranda, who's currently living in Spain. So Miranda, it looks like you have done your research because yes, that's perfect. And that's what I would recommend to anyone who's planning to move to France, but they know that in the short term, they might move, they might have rented an Airbnb or a gîte for a few months, but they're not sure they want to stay there. The PO box is the perfect option. So it's called adresse de domiciliation because basically it means that we're going to be using this for the business registration. So that's what appears on all the legal papers for your business. And in the back end, the PO box company knows where you live. So you just need to update the PO box company whenever you're moving. And legally, the PO box company just need once a year, they need to inform the tax office as to where you actually live. So the PO box is good if you know you're going to be moving. And for instance, Gillian is here, but she didn't go for a PO box. She's got a friend that she's using. But for someone who's moving, use this. And also, for instance, for someone whose activity that don't actually want to show their personal address, For instance, there might be psychologists and so on, and you want to keep you don't want people to turn up on your door, or you want to keep your address private, you would use a PO box, adresse de domiciliation. I work with Ce Domicilier, they're pretty good, they're very fast, and basically for Miranda, you want to actually do the PO box before you register the micro-entrepreneur, because when we get to the stage of registering the micro-entrepreneur, we need a copy of that contract. We need the SIRAT number of the PO box company that we add, and once the registration is handled, the tax office will also ask for a copy of that contract. So first step, set up the PO box. Second step, register your micro-entrepreneur. Yes, Gillian says, oh, you are going to do the PO box. So Gillian says, no, I will do the PO box. Yes, it can, Gillian, because Gillian moved to France last quarter 2023. She is going through different places in France to see which area she likes best. And therefore, she might move, and basically the PO box works when you keep moving and you're not sure. In the short term, the address is set up at a friend's address who gave the authorization, so we're okay, but for her, it's not always easiest. If you have the PO box, the advantage of the PO box company is that they will scan your mail and send it to you. So at least you always get a copy of what's important. You can sort it out and keep working remotely, which sometimes is difficult. Gillian says she did it backwards because she registered the micro-entrepreneur first. So Gillian, because it's all set up now, the PO box is not so necessary because your friend anyway is helpful in collecting the mail. But for somebody else who is thinking about it, PO box first, then micro-entrepreneur. So Bernie came back. Bernie says, super, thanks. Should I choose the area where I will operate? In my case, Strasbourg, or any area will do. So, well, how far are you going to go with your bike, Bernie? So I don't know, is that private event or public event? I would say, for me, that looks like when I used to work with people who were selling on French markets, like all the food trucks and so on, they would do their ideal week. So they would say, okay, for instance, I'm going to take my area. I live in a small village called Lepieux, and they're going to say, okay, on Friday, I'm in Lepieux. On Monday, I'm in Bricbec. On Tuesday, I'm in Cherbourg. So they do the week of the places they want to go, and then they get in touch to just realize what they want to do in terms of work, and then they get in touch with each town to allow them to double check that they will give them, or they will allow them to do so. But for you, if you say, okay, Strasbourg is already quite a big town to go and cycle around, so check with Strasbourg. If they give you the go-ahead, then go ahead with registering the micro-entrepreneur. And it's quite likely that they will say, okay, yes, we seem okay with it, but do come back to us once you have your business attestation. They might say, give us your business attestation first. We still want to double check because we don't want to be told afterwards it wasn't good enough. So to me, always check first. And at least it's a way to introduce yourself, to say, I'm in the process of registering my business. This is what I'm doing. I'll be doing going on public site and private events. I would like to come in your town. Is it okay? Do I need to complete any kind of forms with you, official request? If they say, no, that's fine, come back once you've done, then at least you've done that first presentation and you've double checked that everything is all on track for them. So let me see your questions that I received. So just to say to Gillian, because we swapped emails before, so Gillian registered her business in November 2023 as an English teacher with a specificity as a drama coach as well in English. But Gillian hasn't received all the paperwork. And basically today, using for students in Manage Your Micro Entrepreneur, my course, there's a checklist which basically helps you to assess that you've received all the documents that you should when your business is registered. And with Gillian, she sent me all the documents she's received so far, and basically I just went through to see what was missing. The good news for Gillian is that we got most of them. It's just the hardcover so far. We haven't heard from CPAM. And initially I was thinking, okay, January, that's not so far. It was January, February, March, but actually the registration was November. So Gillian, we're going to call Ursaf, yes, exactly, because I'll call Ursaf. But basically, to me, it sounds like the transfer of your information from URSSAF to CPAM for the health cover may not have worked, so that's the one to chase. And we need to speak to someone so that to force them to push a button to retransfer the information to CPAM, because CPAM, the health cover body, can't know about it unless URSSAF has sent the information. And to me, the fact that so far we haven't received anything sounds like they haven't received the info. So chasing them will be good. Bernie says I was going to use a PO box as well. That's what I was talking about, the area. So yeah, so PO box in Strasbourg, perfect. So look at ce domicilier. Other places where you might find a PO box is usually the co-working spaces or pépinière d'entreprise. They often have some there. So because if you're on your bike, you can at least go and check your mail or collect it, which can be cheaper than have it scanned and sent to you. So in the other questions that I received, so I had a question on Instagram from Firoz, and Firoz says, do you know what kind of business I need for a plant nursery in Nice? Can I have a micro entrepreneur? And unfortunately for Firoz, whenever you're growing plants, it's seen as farming. So you can't do this as a micro entrepreneur. So if you think of a plant nursery, growing fruit and veg, growing olive tree, or having olives to make olive oil, is seen as farming. So unfortunately, you can't have this kind of activity as micro entrepreneurs because farming doesn't come into that scheme. So you need to register with Chambre d'Agriculture, and basically you can't have the type of business I'm talking about. It'd be a specific scheme for micro entrepreneurs, and social charges are just completely different. So the good news for you is, as a start, the social charges are much lower, but the pensions are just terrible, like farmers. Hi, Martin, Kinset Carpentry. Well, nice to see you here, because I've seen a few of your restoration projects on Instagram, and they always look great. So among the other questions, let me have a look. So I had a question from... so we talk about artisan. I can see Martin, so I'm going to take an artisan question. I had a question on YouTube from Bernie, and Bernie says, no, I've already taken, no, sorry, I've already taken Bernie. I have a question from Mountains. So that was on the Start Business in France forum. And Mountain says, what is the minimum income required for a micro entrepreneur for a visa renewal? So Mountains is lucky because Mountains has Visa Talent. So it's a 3-year renewal. The renewal date is September 2026. And basically Mountain was slightly worried that there wasn't enough income per month or per quarter to renew the visa. And basically when you look at the visa renewal, the prefecture is looking, they want to see that you're generating at least the equivalent of the minimum wage in France, the SMIC, S-M-I-C, minimum wage, SMIC. And basically, people don't always talk about the same numbers because the SMIC is about 20,000 euros, 21,000 euros gross, meaning before employee social charges, which means net after employee social charges, it's about 18,000, 18,500. So as an entrepreneur, that's the number we're looking at, 18,500 euros per year. That's the income that you need to take out net of your business. So be careful, we're not talking about turnover, we're talking about the business, the income that you're taking out of your business. And basically for Mountain, who's a micro entrepreneur providing services, what you need to do to know the gross amount, you need to add 34% on top, because that's how the tax office calculated your running expenses, social charges, plus 34% for somebody providing consultancy services as profession libérale, plus 50% if it's someone providing manual services, like an artisan, or plus 71% if you're buying to resell. So roughly for Mountains to be fine, we're looking about turnover around 25 to 30,000 euros per year. And basically, because she has a 3-year visa, it doesn't matter if in the first year is slightly below. It's not like per month. They just look at the total amount for the full year. And then if this year you might be like 17, and next year you're 15, next year you're 20, the year after you're 25 in terms of income out of the business, that's fine, because you've shown that you've increased your income. And if you're not there, basically what you do, You show your saving, you show how much you've done, you show that you have increased, and you show your savings to show that you can still afford to live in France with your savings. And you also write a nice letter to say why you haven't done as much as planned and the actions that you plan to take in order to increase your turnover. Yeah, Gillian is asking whether she should chase yourself. I'll do that for you, Gillian. I will call them tomorrow or Friday. Just sometimes you can't get them straight away, so I will try tomorrow and Friday to speak to them, because it's easier for me to say what the issue is, or to know what to ask them for. The only thing was to ask your friend if she had received anything else in the meantime. So that was it for the income. Let me have a look. I think we've almost gone through everything. So just have two more questions. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask them away, so I will take them as well. So I had a question from Emma, who has a question about filing taxes as a micro-entrepreneur, profession libérale. She says, I'm a micro-entrepreneur, I've been filing my taxes on the URSSAF website. I filed quarterly my taxes, declaration to URSSAF, and I want to know if I'm supposed to be doing something else, if I missed something at the end of the year. So basically, business taxes, personal taxes. So business taxes, that's the tax you pay to URSSAF. So depending on your business type, you would do a monthly, quarterly declaration or yearly declaration to URSSAF, and you pay social charges. The next one, there's a tiny tax called CFE tax, contribution foncière des entreprises. And this one you paid from your second year in business. You pay it in December. It could be anything between 200 and 400 euros. That's a tiny tax. And the last one is your personal income tax. As an entrepreneur, you draw some income out of your business, and as an individual, therefore, you need to declare it to the tax office called Impôt sur le revenu. Impôt sur le revenu, and in France, basically, we file once a year. So we're going to be filing soon. In May 2024, we'll be filing our taxes for 2023. So basically, anything we've earned in 1st of Jan to 31st of December 2023, we're going to be declaring it in our French income tax form, Impôt sur le revenu, in May. And this could be a salary, a pension, your entrepreneur income, rental income, and so on. So that's what you'll be declaring. So far, it looks like Emma hasn't missed anything. She's declaring the social charges. If it was a first year in business, the CFE tax may not be there. The first one could be in December 2024. And basically, if she was in business in 2023, first personal income tax form will be filed in May 2024. So the only thing to pay attention to here is for anyone who moved to France and created a business in 2023, quite often the tax office, it's not that they don't really know about you, often they miss you. They don't miss you, oh, I miss you so much. They just forget to send you the form. So it's up to you to make sure you go and gather the form online, because you have to file a paper declaration for your first ever declaration. It has to be done on paper. You can't do it online. So it's paper, and you have to fill in the forms and return it to them. Now, the good news is that most of the tax office places, they take, you can have a free appointment with them most of May to actually file those taxes. So you bring everything and you ask for help, and they help you to do it. And in my newsletter, so if on startbusinessinfrance.com, you have the newsletter. I also always cover that topic, and I'll give you a link to the forms so I'll be doing that in May, because they usually post it end of April. I do an article with all the links to the forms, so you can download it and start preparing them. So she hasn't missed anything yet. So Gillian says, I haven't got started yet, really. Guess I'm okay with taxes. So Gillian, the one you want to focus on, yes, so you'll have to find your French income tax form 2023, but it will be covered in the course. There's a section on there. I will update it with the new forms, and as part of a monthly Q&A, when it's tax season, I'll cover it in our live Q&A, so it can help everybody online. The only thing you need to do, Gillian, is that your auto-entrepreneur.ursaf.fr account, you need to go and create that one, because normally if you don't have anything, you declare at zero, so you still have to file at zero. It's just, in the meantime, some of the letters you sent me, I couldn't quite see on them your social security number, your temporary number. You need a temporary number to create the accounts. If you receive no temporary number, you can't create it. But if you have received it, you need to go and do that bit. So trending now says, I just arrived from Spain. I never lived in France. Should I get a tax number, or my tax number will be sorted once I open my micro entrepreneur business using these services? So yeah, don't worry about it, because basically the fact that we register micro entrepreneur kicks everything in. So basically you register your business, it informs yourself. You're given your CIRET number, your business ID number by INSEE. It informs yourself, it informs the tax office. So, and then they will come back to you. They will come back to you regarding your business. But basically for your personal taxes, you don't need to rush to get a personal tax number. You can do that later when you have time. Even some people, they don't get it. They just wait for their first declaration to get it. So no hurry, because basically until you create your business, nobody knows about you. The tax office won't know what to do. At least once you have the business, because they can see you have a business, they can say, oh, okay, you want a tax number, or there you go, you can have it. So no rush, you can focus on getting the business done first. I think that was pretty much the questions that I wanted to cover. Let me know. Hi, the Lioness Mom. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm just having a quick look to see if I missed any question. Oh, my iPad is doing some strange things. I think that was about it. The only thing I wanted to say, let me refresh because it's gone. I can't read it anymore. I think the last question was from Maxime. Maxime is super organized. He's created his business. Everything is ticking. He's double checked everything. He's managed to renew his visa with the prefecture. He was super organized. And strangely, he suddenly received a warning from the tax office with a 500 euro bill. And so he sent me a copy thinking, what is this? I've got no clue. And usually when it's a letter from the tax office, they're quite hard to read. And basically it says, avis de recouvrement. Avis de recouvrement. And that's basically when I write to you to say, oh, we haven't paid some taxes. And it wasn't Maxime's fault, because he's super organized. It's basically because sometimes when you create your micro entrepreneur business or any business, the tax office should send you, as the entrepreneur, a CFE initial questionnaire called CFE 1447, where you fill your details. And sometimes they just don't send it to you. So in Maxime's case, they never sent him the form, so he didn't complete that initial questionnaire. And now basically what they said in the complex letter is they say, oh, we've realized we've made a mistake. And by the way, we've got 3 years to fix our mistakes and go back 3 years back whenever we've made a mistake to ask for taxes. Therefore, now you owe us, I don't know whether it was one or 2 years of CFE tax. Please, this letter tells you that you're going to get that bill soon. So it wasn't Maxime's fault, but basically they realized they forgot this. So now he has to wait for the bill to be sent to him, and then he will pay it. But basically, just know that when you create a business in France, the CFE tax is due for all small business owners from the second year in business. And when you create a business, if you haven't received that CFE 1447 form in the first 6 months, then in that case, it's best to download it, complete it, and send it to the tax office via your business Impôt Gouv account. So for people in the Manage Your Micro Entrepreneur course, in the course I show you how to create your business Impôt Gouv account. And also the CFE form is also explained how to fill it in, that CFE initial questionnaire, but it's basically information about who you are, where your business is, and what you use the premises for. So you fill this in, and then through the messagerie, you send it to the tax office saying, I haven't received this form, just wanted to make sure everything was on track. Please find my declaration, so at least it's not your fault. So I would say, if you created your business in 2023 and you can't remember getting a CFE form, you would remember it because it just looks awful, it looks really scary. In that case, I would recommend you fill it in and then you send it to the tax office via the Impôt Gouv, your business Impôt Gouv account, and that's the red one. So I think I've taken most of the questions for today. Thank you all for joining. So basically the live Q&A is once a month. So I will soon add the date for, now when we March, I will soon add the date for April. So, and if you go on YouTube, you can be warned when it's live. If you subscribe to my channel and you say be informed, it just tell you when we're about to be live. And I will also add the links to the events that I mentioned, the 101 French Business webinar, the Move to France webinar with Ibanista, and the live interview with Patricia Brooks. So thank you all for joining. Hi, John and Dean, Aldo. If you have a question, just ask them quickly because I will be ending the live soon. But anyway, gracias. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you very much. Voilà, c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup. And I'll see you all very soon. I'll see you at least in the live next month. Merci beaucoup et bonne soirée à tous ou bonne journée. Merci.